Mancal Mueller just posted this just a couple hours ago. Trump clear and present. On the left is what the government released before. On the right is what Trump released, finally, the truth about JFK, RFK, and MLK. And we're gonna show you in this video how you can access these files for yourself and investigate for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's up to us, the citizen journalists, to break it down and release this information to the public. This has just come out. An audio recording has now emerged in which Clifton Carter, a former DNC executive, director, and close associate of Lyndon B. Johnson, allegedly implicates LBJ in the assassination of JFK. First, Donald Trump has ordered the release of the final JFK, RFK, and MLK assassination files, documents that Mike Pompeo personally begged him to keep secret. But the bombshells don't stop there. All right, folks, this is the moment that we have been waiting for a very long time. Donald Trump has just signed an executive order to declassify every last file on JFK, RFK, MLK. People have been waiting decades, he says. And listen to what he says at the end. When he signs the executive order with that executive pen, he says, give it to RFK Jr. Think about the implications here.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
Give that to RFK Jr. Oh, my goodness. Give that pen to RFK Jr. Can you imagine that aide handing that pen to RFK Jr. saying, the president has just declassified the files on your father's assassination and your uncle's assassination. Finally, there will be justice. Mancal Mueller just posted this just a couple hours ago. Trump clear and present. On the left is what the government released before. On the right is what Trump released, finally, the truth about JFK, RFK, and MLK. And we're gonna show you in this video how you can access these files for yourself and investigate for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's up to us, the citizen journalists, to break it down and release this information to the public. There's going to be a lot of sleuths going through this information, and you're going to be one of them, and I'm going to empower you. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you. Now, I would love to be able to read all this, but of course, as you can see, it is super, super small print. But this appears to be something called the Paris Letter from September 27th of 1960, the investigation at the Albert Schweitzer College located in Switzerland. Yeah, see, I'm not even going to be able to break this down for you at the moment because you know why? This just came out. This is so fresh, I haven't even had time to analyze it. But this has just come out. An audio recording has now emerged in which Clifton Carter, a former DNC executive, director, and close associate of Lyndon B. Johnson, allegedly implicates LBJ in the assassination of JFK. The recording suggests that Johnson orchestrated the plot, hiring Mac Wallace to carry out the assassination. The timing of the release is unusual given that Trump is expected to declassify the entire JFK files. Before his untimely death, JFK was working to have AIPAC register as a foreign agent. This new theory shifts blame from Israel and places it on LBJ.
Well, brother, sure good to see you. How's life treating you today? Well, Saul, it's been a pretty touch and go situation. Lyndon and I have had quite a few unpleasant words here lately over the deal with that he hired Mike Wallace to assassinate the president. It's been hectic in every way, but we've lived through it this far, and I guess we'll continue to do so. Lyndon should have never issued that order to Mike, but we've had our differences, and I'm a true blue to Lyndon, as I've always been, and tried to carry out every order that he'd ever given me. But this is one I'll probably never be able to forget. And the times that we've had in Texas, and the embarrassment that Lyndon had gotten from Kennedy, I guess there wasn't anything else to do but what he did.
Well, you know, Lyndon could have really hit me if he would.
Well, Lyndon's the kind of person that doesn't want to help anyone. He's all for Lyndon, and that's the way he's pretty much always been.
Well, they had me backed up on that Henry Marshall killing, and they just kind of blackmailed me to keep my mouth shut. And if I hadn't had a bunch of tapes that I played after he got killed, because, 17 got killed in this situation very mysteriously. And I've done a lot of time, and I've lost a lot of money, and hurt my family a whole lot. And it's really got me just disgusted with Lyndon in one way. In one way, I feel real sorry. Sure good to see you. How's life treating?
I'm sort of in shock. This is the first time I've heard this. My wife just brought this to my attention during a break, and it wasn't part of the original segments that we had pulled for you guys today, but this is everywhere. And of course, the timing is suspicious because Donald Trump has just signed the executive order. Now, I want to play a little bit for you again because there's some language in here that we just need to kind of just soak in for a moment, because it implicates LBJ all the way. And Roger Stone he's got a book out that points the finger at LBJ as well. Well, let's listen just for the first maybe 30 seconds again.
Today.
Well, Saul, it's been a pretty touch and go situation. Lyndon and I have had quite a few unpleasant words here lately over the deal that he hired Mike Wallace to assassinate the president. It's been hectic in every way, but we've lived through it this far, and I guess we'll continue to do so. Lyndon should have never issued that order to Mike, but we've had our differences, and I'm a true blue to Lyndon, as I've always been.
Mac. You see this picture right here? Picture on your screen. I was at a conference, and I think it was actually one of Alex Jones' producers was pointing out some books that I needed to read, and one of them was about Lady Bird Johnson. And there's another picture that's very rarely ever seen. I don't have it here, but you can look it up. It's the same exact scene, but I believe there's a man. See the man in the bow tie? I think it's the man in the bow tie, or it could be the man right behind Lyndon Johnson there. This is when obviously Lyndon is being sworn in on Air Force One on the way back to Washington. JFK's casket is in the hold. But I believe it's that man in the back with the bow tie, and he's looking at Lyndon Johnson, and he's giving him a wink. Like, well done. Like, you're the man now. It's really sinister, and the picture itself speaks 1,000 words. I don't have it for you. You can look it up, but it's whenever I see this photograph, I always think about the one that was taken at the same time. But Mac, what is it? Mac Wallace. We have to go deeper into that. Mac Wallace So with the specifics related to the JFK files, this is what we're learning from the White House website. Trump has now issued deadlines for the plans of the release of the JFK, RFK, MLK files, maximum at 45 days. This is from Diligent Denizen. President Trump gave a 15-day deadline for plans to be put forth for the total release of all files regarding JFK's assassination. He gave the government 45 days to come up with a plan for the total release of MLK, RFK assassination files. The American people are finally going to get the answers. Declassification of the records has now officially been posted to the White House. No other president in American history is going to bring the transparency that this man is going to bring. They've all said, oh, I'm the most transparent administration. Remember Barack Obama said that? That was like the hallmark of his administration. That guy was as deep state as you can come. Trump ordered the release of the final classified files. This move could shatter decades of lies, corruption, and deep state cover-ups. Trump is doing what no other president had the guts to do, bring transparency to some of the darkest chapters in American history. The truth about the JFK assassination, RFK's murder, MLK Jr. files could finally be revealed. Of course, the establishment's terrified, and they should be. Trump is standing up for the American people, exposing the secrets they've tried to bury for decades. This is what a fearless leader looks like. Trump delivering again. The floodgates are about to be revealed. And think about, there's like, where's Al Sharpton on this, right? Where's Jesse Jackson on this? You see this picture on the screen right here? That's MLK in the bottom corner. Who's standing to MLK's right? On the left side of that photograph, that's Jesse Jackson. Now, I've actually been to that hotel in Memphis. I've been in that hotel, stood right underneath that railing, and it's a solemn moment when you stand there, because it looks like you're standing in a historic place where history changed. The 60s were violent. I mean, yeah, we got problems now, but back then the deep state didn't care. They would just do it in broad daylight. And of course, we have the instances with Donald Trump as of late, the assassination attempts on his life.
Flashback. Before we get back to that hearing, I do have a related story to bring to you. Take a look at this. Matthew, this is for the first time right now. We are seeing the father of a Trump shooter snapping back at the media. This was a video that was located just yesterday by Fox News Digital. For the first time, Thomas Matthew Crook's father was spotted in public since the 20-year-old gunman opened fire at former President Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, according to a local business employee and a neighbor who identified him in that picture. So let's play it out for you in full right here on Live Now from Fox.
Why would your son want to kill the president?
Back off.
No comment.
No comment.
Were there any warning signs, Matthew? No comment.
How's Mary holding up?
No comment.
We'll release a statement when our legal counsel advises us to do so.
Why would your son want to kill the president?
Back off.
We've got to go to Joe Syracuse now for our regular chat on a Monday. Yes, here we are again. Joe Syracuse, can you believe it? Just your thoughts on where things are at this morning with what appears to be a second attempted assassination on the life of Donald Trump. And he's had, as the authorities said earlier, the barrel of the gun pointing through the fence. He could have just been seconds away from taking a shot. And as we just heard from a trainer a short time ago, that shot, not that complicated at that distance.
Good morning, Pete. Well, there's no doubt about it. This is the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. And I think President Trump is going to have to maybe modify his lifestyle. Look, Pete, you've been on a golf course, 18 holes, tree lined, bush lined, put rifles anywhere. This guy brought his GoPro camera. He was going to take pictures. He was going to become very famous with this. Look, this morning, this started out in the New York Times with there was a shot in the vicinity, then a shot in the parking lot, then a shot in the bushes. I mean, this guy was just waiting for the president for one hole. And so, we dodged a bullet there and averted disaster. But look, presidents have been sitting ducks as part of the job. I mean, in my own lifetime, President Kennedy was murdered, and then we had Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan were shot at, and Reagan, of course, was injured very badly, though we didn't know that at first. And so these presidents are just targets for these people. And now, one of your guests talked about the rhetoric. I'd say that rhetoric or not, presidents become magnets for these kinds of people, whether they're mentally deranged or politically motivated, whatever it is, whether you're looking at Lincoln's conspirators, who were all pretty rational people, to Lee Harvey Oswald, who struck me as sort of an odd bird anyway. So look, I think the president's going to have to alter his lifestyle. The Secret Service ought to do a little soul searching here, Pete. When you fail a president once and then 2 months later you fail him a second time, then there's something wrong. I don't know exactly what is wrong. We could all, of course, speculate, but I think there's been a catastrophic failure on the part of the Secret Service, and this will attract more shooters. There's no doubt about it. Once they think the president is not properly guarded, they may be even tempted to go after it. Who goes after a president? God knows why. But they will go after him in future, and I think he's a target.
Major political story unfolding in Washington. The director of Secret Service handing in her resignation.
Fox 8's Lisa Evers joins us now. And Lisa, this comes in the wake of the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump.
Yes, it does, Natasha and Bianca. Facing growing bipartisan pressure from House lawmakers and others calling for her resignation, embattled Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle announced she's stepping down. But now there are new questions about who will lead the agency through this busy election season. Former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle initially tried to keep her post, saying on Monday before the House Oversight Committee that she believed she was the best person to lead the agency forward, despite its failure to prevent the July 13th assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
I take full responsibility for any security lapse of our agency.
That wasn't enough to satisfy the outrage from both Republicans and Democrats at the hearing. Cheadle was repeatedly unable to provide basic information. It was clear to many she had to go. In an internal memo obtained by Fox News, she said, "All of you are worthy of trust and confidence," adding, "You deserve the nation's support in carrying out our critical mission. Thank you for all that you do and will continue to do for our great nation."
And the immediate reaction to her resignation is that it is overdue. She should have done this at least a week ago.
Richard Staropoli is a former Secret Service agent who was assigned to Presidents Clinton and Bush and also served in a supervisory capacity. He says agents used to be recruited with military or law enforcement experience, but Cheadle changed that focus. He says reorganization and new policies take time. Right now, there is an urgent need to protect the growing field of candidates.
The clock still ticks. There's nothing to say that the same thing or a similar thing isn't going to be attempted tomorrow. This is a continually evolving and running process.
The big question is, who will replace Cheadle at a time when the agency is under tremendous scrutiny?
Not quite sure who the agency is going to get turned over to, but it's got to happen really quickly. That cannot stay in the way of the protective responsibilities of the Secret Service.
Former President Trump is also reacting to Cheadle's resignation, telling Fox News Digital, quote, "She never gave me proper protection, so I ended up having to take a bullet for democracy," end quote. Natasha and Bianca, back to you.
We still don't have any answers in those. But what's going to happen next? What's Jesse Jackson going to say? Is he going to applaud this? I certainly hope that he would. Al Sharpton, I hope he would applaud the release of these files. Or is he afraid that some of his buddies in government or some of the agencies that he adores are suddenly going to be implicated? Yeah, talk about having to deal with double standards. There's a lot of people going to face a reckoning. A lot of people. Okay, we've got some more on this as well. I want to teach you guys how you can learn how to access these files. I'm going to get to the Panama Canal stuff, the breaking stuff from the Panama Canal in a minute. But we have Okay, Daily Mail published this. Trump orders a release. Big headline today. We're going to get this Tucker clip in a second because, Mike Pompeo told Trump, don't release the files. And you know what Trump did right before he signed the executive order? He revoked Pompeo's security detail, his Secret Service detail. And then he released the files. I mean, talk about sending a message. Pompeo was protecting the deep state. Without question. Trump, don't do it. Don't release those files. So what does Trump do? A big FU to Pompeo. Guess what? I'm releasing the files and I'm revoking your Secret Service detail. Here's what Trump had to say about Pompeo.
And I was actually asked by Mike Pompeo, his Secretary of State, not to. And I felt he knew something that maybe, when he asks you not to, you sort of say, why? And he felt that it was just not a good time to release them. And you might ask him why. Maybe he'll deny that even. But he did. He asked me. And some others also, though. They didn't want the Kennedy stuff released. I was actually asked by Mike Pompeo, his Secretary of State, not.
Okay, so I want to get to that clip. I need to play this for you. I promised you guys, and then I'm going to get to the Tucker clip. Okay, so this is Jess Fields. Jess Field made this video to explain how to be one of the first to browse the JFK files when they're released, according to President Trump's order. Hope that it helps. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to repost this on my X account, so you will be able to go directly there if you want to reference it later. You need to follow us on X, but I'm going to play this for you. It's only a couple minutes long. It's chock full of information that you need to pay attention to. Watch.
I'm going to teach you how to find the JFK files as soon as they're released, because this is something Trump has ordered, and it's going to be a huge deal. You're going to go to archives.gov, and you're going to find a page that is specifically for the JFK assassination files. As you can imagine, they get a lot of requests about this at the National Archives. You're going to look for the master page that has all of the different JFK assassination records on it. You can also find that at archives.gov/research/JFK. Once you're on that page, you're going to notice that they have different sections, but the primary one to look at is the released files, which goes by year. The latest is 2023. And of course, you can look at all the different reports like the Warren Commission and other different ways of finding material or sorting by name and things like that. Now, as soon as you actually go into one of the year pages, you're going to notice a huge list of files. It's like a spreadsheet, and it has record numbers and agencies that it came from and who it's from and where it's going, and, is it deemed relevant even to the JFK assassination investigation or not? But all of these different files are part of the disclosure. So this is kind of how you can tell quickly at a glance what it's about. And as soon as the Trump release is actually going through, you're going to see a similar dump of files like this. So you want to be able to go through and kind of understand exactly what it is that you're looking at, which agency it's from, and just as importantly, you need to understand how to actually find the file. So you can see that there's a little PDF link on each of these rows, and that's actually the original scanned copy of the file. So in this case, you can see this was a CIA document. It was from Esterline to the chief of the finance division, and it was redacted, is why they held it back. So you can see here they have a specific thing that says subject was recruited by Urbana Station at the rate of $300 per month. So President Trump's ordered releases are going to be just like this. It's going to be a whole bunch of files, and unlikely that they're going to give you any easier guide to look through this. When these first come out, journalists are going to be scrambling to try and figure out what does it all mean. So if you're one of the first people on the files, you can actually figure it out. So if you want to join the best citizen journalists first in line to see one of the biggest government document releases of our lifetimes, familiarize yourself right now with archive.gov's website, and you will be glad you did. This is Jess Fields. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.
Thank you, Jess Fields, for that. You know what I think would be a good idea? What needs to be done is all the files need to be downloaded and uploaded into like ChatGPT. Optical character recognition, full searchable database. Oh, I'm sure someone's going to do it. Maybe I'll do it. It's going to take a hell of a lot of time. I'm just one man. But hey, that's what I think would be a great idea. So anyone listening right now, I'm planting a seed. Build the large language model based on all the JFK files. Release it to the public. Elon Musk, are you listening? Let's get it done.